Hello and welcomes everyone, AnthWolf here bringing you a new Let's Play. Once again we are returning to the old favourite, Star Wars The Old Republic, developed by BioWare and published by EA, also known as Electronic Arts, and released originally in the back end of 2011. This is an MMO set in the Star Wars universe, as you can imagine, and we are returning to a Let's Play I did a couple of years ago now. I am replaying, as you can tell from the background image I'm using to start off this LP, I am replaying the Sith Warrior storyline, the story arc. Partially because I've had a request to do so, and partially because at this point in time I'm kind of getting myself back into the swing of things, back into recording. A lot of things have been happening this year in 2017, and as I've been struggling to start with the Trooper Let's Play, which is the final playable class I've yet to play properly both for myself and to record for the channel, I thought I'd ease myself back into recording with a bit more Star Wars The Old Republic, and it was between the Sith Warrior and the Jedi Knight. Now, until I had the request to maybe play as the Sith Warrior, I was looking to start another Jedi Knight LP, but with the request I've had a look into it and I figured, well, why the hell not, basically, and here we are. In addition, my original Sith Warrior LP was what I consider a short LP. The character Asura was focusing primarily on just the Sith Warrior storyline. She didn't really involve herself in any of the side or exploration missions. And I thought that was kind of a shame. I enjoyed the storyline, but I thought I'd get more out of it, and this time I would do what I consider a long LP, where we'll not only be going through the Sith Warrior's main story arcs with the 3 main chapters, but we'll be doing a majority of the side and exploration missions on the various worlds we'll visit, and we'll probably do a smidgen of the heroic missions that are available as well. You'll find that heroic missions tend to give you a lot more experience. To be honest, we're going to be leveling up extremely quickly anyway, so experience isn't a major concern. But heroic missions do give you rewards which are worthwhile using once you hit level 60 and beyond, from what I can remember. And those rewards can be used in some of the later expansions. And the Sith Warrior and potentially the Jedi Knight, if I do decide to go back and replay that series as well, I would be hoping to take into the expansions if the mood is there once we've completed the first and major 3 chapters of their storyline, basically. The expansions, of course, being the Rise of the Hutt Cartel, the Shadow of Revan expansion, and then the latest 2, Knights of the Fallen Empire and Knights of the Eternal Throne, I believe they're called. And I've still, at this point in time, yet to play the latest expansion that came out the back end of 2016, Knights of the Eternal Throne. So I still mean to explore what happens at that point for any class, basically. But yeah, here we are. To set the scene, most people are probably aware either by having played the game themselves or maybe watching another playlist on my channel or another person's channel perhaps. But the Old Republic setting is set 3,500 years prior to the events of the movies that most people are familiar with. And I think it's been about a decade since the Sith Empire and the Galactic Republic agreed on a ceasefire. Quite a tenuous one after the Sith Empire launched a major offensive against the Republic's capital world of Coruscant and destroyed the Jedi Temple there. But the Sith Emperor kind of weirdly agreed to stop hostilities on what people considered the eve of the Empire's victory. And as I say, it's been 10 years since, or approximately 10 years, I can't recall how many years exactly. But our character, who we will be playing as, is a force potential of the Sith Order. and we've been summoned to Korriban, the prologue world of both Sith playable classes, to advance our training and undergo the Sith trials as an acolyte, and hopefully find a Sith Lord to then continue learning, obviously, the Sith traits and learn under him or her. And that's where we'll find ourselves once we get through creating our playable character and get through the opening sprawl. Couple of things before we start. Again, the Sith Warrior has two advanced classes, the Sith Juggernaut and the Sith Marauder. One is focused primarily on just dealing damage with each of their discipline trees, which is the Marauder. And the Juggernaut can also be a DPS class, but they also have a tanking class, which allows them to wield, I think it's like a shielding focus in their offhand, allowing them to migrate some damage that they take. And I think the Juggernaut can also wear heavy armor, whereas the Marauder can only wear medium armors. But even though we'll be getting armors and weapons from various quests, we will be using a set of adaptable armor, which is common for my playthroughs, and this armor is made up of various item modifications which we will be leveling up as our character levels. And so the armor we'll wear probably early on in the playthrough, probably about level 10ish, depending on when I feel is appropriate. That armor will stick with us throughout the game and just improve as our character improves. And unless I find some armor which I think I prefer, as I say, that'll stick with us for the entirety of this series. And that's really it. The only minor thing I should probably mention is, because it's an MMO, there is no save and load features. I have had instances in Star Wars The Old Republic, especially when I've had recording software problems, I've lost my internet connection, and I can't repeat any gameplay. So if there is an issue that occurs, I can't go back and repeat it, unfortunately. So I will try and mix videos together if there is any issues, and I'll just let you know if and when it occurs, and we'll just go forward from there. But yeah, okay. I think that's all I really need to say. I see I've done this quite a few times already for the channel. We'll probably forego an explanation video of the UI and the HUD and such once we actually get into the game, and I'll just explain little bits and pieces when we're actually into the gameplay and playing the game for itself. But we'll get into character creation, and there's a little bit more talking, setting the scene even further, and then we'll go from there and actually get onto the prologue world of Korriban. So I will see you in just a moment. And welcomes back, everyone. So we'll get ourselves into character creation. Again, I am playing on the European servers. I'll be playing on the Red Eclipse server for this game, and I have plenty of characters on this on the server. As you can see, we have completed all three of the major story arcs for all the playable classes, both for the Sith Empire and the Galactic Republic, bar the Trooper. As I say, the Trooper LP will be coming. I just need to motivate myself, have to get myself into the right mindset, and hopefully that'll be in the near future. We'll just have to see. I definitely would like to get the legendary player status, even though it's just an extra symbol next to your name. It really means very little. Ah, Valakar. My first and still possibly favourite character. I've been tempted to replay the Bounty Hunter again as maybe a female Bounty Hunter, just because I love the Bounty Hunter kind of lore for the Star Wars universe. Plus Valakar was a barrel of laughs. Anyhows, let's get ourselves creating our character. Obviously, I still have my level boosts for Knights of the Fallen Empire and Knights of the Eternal Throne from when the expansions were released, I think in 2015 and 2016. But we're going to start at level 1 at the very beginning of the Old Republic setting and go through our story arc. So let's create our character. So choose your allegiance. Founded 20,000 years ago by explorers and diplomats, the Galactic Republic is a vast democracy led by the Supreme Chancellor. The Republic is a chaotic amalgam of many worlds, corporations and species, which often clash with one another. And then of course the Sith Empire, a rigid militaristic society where aliens are subjugated and Sith Lords are supreme. The Empire is ruled by the mysterious, all-powerful Sith Emperor. To Imperial citizens, power is everything. Only the strongest ascend to glory. And actually this is a good point to talk about my character's motivations. I've decided that my character, my Sith Warrior, is going to be very pro-Empire. You can play it any way you want. You can even try and be more of the light side, despite being a Sith. You can try to be more charming and diplomatic rather than using like ruthless tactics and expressing yourself as such. But no, my character, my warrior, at least in my mind at the beginning of this video, of the series, believes that for the galaxy, for the Empire to survive, there has to be, maybe not one, but at least a cadre, a council of strong individuals that'll hold the power and guide it accordingly. Of course, there are going to be individuals who try to use their power for their own benefits, and as long as it's in the good of the Empire, there's a little bit of leeway there. But our Sith Warrior, despite being maybe an acolyte, definitely would like power for himself, and then to use it for the good of the Empire. For good or for ill for anyone else, well, you know, yeah, you gotta break a few eggs to make an omelette, so be it. We're going to be a member of the Sith Empire. Now, one thing, I think it was with the Knights of the Eternal Throne expansion, you normally used to choose your advanced class once you, well, originally once you left the Prologue world. And then with, I think it may have been a Shadow of Revan expansion, you could choose your advanced class once you got to level 10. Now, you choose your advanced class for, like, at the very beginning here. We're going to be playing as a Sith Juggernaut, of course. I'm not sure if I like this, because it kind of railroads you, because once you've chosen your advanced class, you can't change your mind. So anyone who's new to this game and hasn't really looked into what these all are, well, that's really their problem, unfortunately. And the only thing you can change is your skill, your discipline trees when you get into the game. But, I say, we're pretty experienced. The Sith Juggernaut is a stalwart defender of the Sith Empire. The Juggernaut embodies the teachings of Marka Ragnos, charging into enemies with heavy armor and pure rage. I like that. And rage is actually their resource pool for using a variety of their abilities, so that's appropriate. We get to choose our species. As it was mentioned, most alien races, most cultures, are frowned heavily upon in the Sith Empire. Humans, human cyborgs, and pure-blooded Sith are really the only free, almost worthy races in the Empire. The rest can still join a variety of the different power structures. You could be a bounty hunter. You could become a member of Imperial Intelligence. You could even be a Sith. But the people in power will be looking down upon you, and if you made a mistake, they would punish you a lot more severely than they would punish maybe another human or a pure-blooded Sith. Even though Sith punishments tend to be torture and most likely death in horrible, horrible ways, so human, Sith, or any of the alien races, not a good idea. Anyhows, we are going to be playing as a human. the most common species in the galaxy. Humans are versatile and the norm against which other species are judged. I was tempted to go pure-blooded Sith. Do I want to change my mind? I will stick with human. Why not? We will be playing as a male.
It's useless to defy me.
Indeed. So, I have kind of pre-built what my human Sith Warrior would look like, so give me a moment. Let's play with this. We're going to be quite burly. We actually are going to have a scar. Is that the right one? It is. We don't want a tattoo. Eye colour, is that correct? No. There it is. Complexion. There you go. We'll thin our eyebrows a little. I don't really... Complexion's not something I really play with too much. Freckles, maybe not. I was almost tempted to give myself to some there you go. You can give yourself a bit of a
it's
bit of shadow here.
Me.
But it doesn't really work well with the injury we received sometime in our past. Maybe through training as an acolyte of the Sith Order. But I think that's correct. So, the only other thing we really should mention is... Let's have a look here. The story... combat roll? No. Story. So, I'm going to just read through this. Feel free to skip ahead if you so wish. But it kind of sets the story of a Sith Warrior and what we're all about. The champion of the dark side. An unstoppable force of darkness, the Sith Warrior is entrusted with the task of destroying the Empire's enemies and enforcing Sith domination across the galaxy. The warrior channels the destructive emotions of fear, anger and hatred to purge weakness from body and mind and become a being of pure brutal efficiency. Destined to eradicate the incompetent chaos created by the Jedi, the Sith seek to rule the galaxy through power and intimidation. The armies of the Sith Empire are trained to accomplish this task, but they are required the leadership of bold Sith warriors, loyal and mighty overlords who will drive them to conquest and victory. These cold-blooded conquerors waste no time with cunning manipulations and carefully crafted plans. Sith warriors crush their opponents and stride towards their goals with dreadful determination, leaving ruin and annihilation in their wake. Emanating awe and terror at every step, they accept nothing but absolute obedience from their followers. In turn, Sith warriors can serve as loyal subjects to their own dark masters, often surprising enemies and allies with their rigorous honour and perfect discipline. Whether they align their ambitions with those of the Dark Council, or become renegades in pursuit of their own goals, they are never far from the action. Their fierce hatred of the Jedi keeps Sith warriors at the forefront of any conflict with the Republic. The passion to eradicate the Jedi Order fuels many of their actions, but that does not make them single-minded fools. Ultimately, the destiny of any Sith warrior is his own to choose, and woe to those who would stand in his way. In regard to working with others, natural leaders in any context, Sith warriors inspire both fear and undying loyalty in their followers. Though they rarely exercise patience for incompetence or indecisiveness, warriors have realized the importance of strength in numbers in their war with the Jedi, and have learned to accept and sometimes even encourage their comrades, whether they are like-minded Sith, ruthless bounty hunters, or others who would embrace the darkness. So yeah, as I mentioned before we chose what faction we were playing as, our character here, our Sith Warrior, really is determined to inspire his followers and have them learn from his example, but at the same time, we're not going to be, how to put this, brooking any argument. Our followers, our companions, will have to accept that our way is right, and they may offer advice and suggestions, but when it comes down to it, it's our decision to make. And yeah, we're not going to be making friends, really. In fact, the only friends we may make is more influential Sith Lords to then help us climb the hierarchy of the Sith Order. And finally, we need to choose our Sith Warrior's name. Our name for this playthrough is going to be... Whoop, it's not going to be Mark Braisley. That's not right. I forgot, that's actually the male voice actor for the Sith Warrior, and I wanted to look at what he was previously doing. 2 moments there. Sorry about that. Had to go get my character's name once again. Our character for the Sith Juggernaut, or Sith Warrior here, is going to be Curse. The reason I had to go pick it up is because I had to get the symbol for the final letter there. Curse by itself is not actually a valid name for one reason or another. But once we hit play here, we're going to be going into the Star Wars opening sprawl, introducing the Sith Warrior once again and what he is doing on our way to the prologue world of Korriban. Of course, unfortunately, John Williams' theme is copywritten on YouTube, so I will hopefully find something appropriate to overwrite it with, and then we'll actually get ourselves onto the prologue world. So, I will see you in just a moment.
At last, you've arrived. Good, good. There is much to do, and every moment is critical. I'm Overseer Tremel. For decades, I've administered the trials that prove who is and is not worthy to join the Sith Order. The trials are a chance to weed out the weak. Those who face them either survive and become Sith, or die.
I think I'll take the first option.
I didn't bring you here for levity. Yes, you are here and ahead of schedule because of me. I expect you to obey. You face your trials, you serve me, and I will make you the most powerful acolyte here.
Sounds like a plan.
The trials themselves are difficult enough, but they are hardly the greatest threat you face. There's an acolyte here named Vemrin. He's your enemy, and he will try to kill you. We must prepare you.
How is it I already have an enemy?
All you need to know is that you are a threat to him, and he to you. We'll make sure you can stand up to that threat. That practice sword you've arrived with is insufficient. The blade of lesser acolytes. You need a dominating weapon. In the tomb of Ajunta Paul, there's an old armory. A strong Sith warblade awaits you there. The tomb is thick with claw slugs. Deadly, savage creatures. Be speedy, but careful. They've been the end of many an acolyte.
If they lack the instinct to avoid me, I'll feed them their heads.
Once you acquire the warblade, I suggest you spend some time in the tomb bloodying it. Then come to me in my chambers in the academy.
Okay. Welcome to the Prologue world of Korriban, everyone. So yeah, we've been summoned to advance our training and potentially, hopefully, undergo the Sith trials. Much like many other players here. Korriban. I don't know much of the history of this place, but I do know that many a famous or perhaps infamous Sith Lord is entombed here, and some of which unfortunately have had their tombs raided by other potential Sith Lords seeking their wisdom or just their artifacts. But before we get ourselves into the tomb of Ajunta Paul, which I think is where we were meant to be going, indeed, we will, I have a few bits of mail to read through, mostly from being a subscriber for so long, but I also need to send Curse here a variety of items, as well as some credits, and then we'll actually get ourselves into the tomb. And while we're running through the next video, I'll explain some of the UI elements, and so on and so forth. But yes, I hope you're all going to enjoy the Sith Warrior playthrough with me, and we'll see how it really goes. But, as always, this has been AnthWolf. I say, feel free to comment if you so wish, and obviously I will see you for even more in the next video. Until then, no. Bye-bye now.